Hello and welcome back to the Final Flight podcast. We're here again for our Cheltenham Festival Ante-post countdown show. It's week 12 and we've got another fantastic guest with us tonight, Charlotte, a really talented jockey. Good evening, welcome, thank you for joining us. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. We've obviously had a lot of fantastic guests on the show so far, so we really do appreciate you coming on and giving us your time, and we've got a brilliant weekend to talk about. Obviously, Trials Day in Doncaster. Rich and Joe. Rich, me and you went on the Saturday. We had a really good day. We didn't win out, we didn't lose out, but did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? We
cold.
saw some good racing. Apart from John Bond let me down, but never mind.
Well, we'll get on to John Bond later on. Your muggy hackers in the bin once again. Joe, did you do much at the weekend watching the racing?
Yeah, I had the family around Saturday, mate, so just chilled out, watched the racing. Very good, very enjoyable, but yeah, John Bond was disappointing, wasn't he? Let's just say I think the champion chase is going to Ireland anyway, but yeah, a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there certainly is. Well, like I say, what we normally do is we chat about the weekend's racing, then we'll get Charlotte's opinion, and we'll probably talk up to you if we can about a couple of your nice horses you've ridden, maybe a couple of horses to follow, and then we'll stick our Ante-post selections up and have a good time doing it. Right, first up, and I'm just going to pull this out before we talk about it because I have got my scarf at the ready. Sergino absolutely put Burdett Road in his place in the Juvenile hurdle at Cheltenham. A fantastic performance. Charlotte, I'll come to you first if I can. What did you make of it? Are you as excited as I am for Sergino?
I mean, you can't not be, can you? You know, I think the fact that there was the early pace, I think probably suited him. They had them all pretty well strung out. He was obviously much handier than Burdett Road, and he looked to me he looked more relaxed throughout the whole race, which probably I think has helped him probably finish better. Burdett Road he still looked like he was pulling double turning in, but then he didn't really find much off the bridle, did he, to be fair? So, I mean, for me, the way Sergino just kicked on at the end, you can't, the way he finished was very strong. You can't argue with that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I know there's been a few people speaking about the ride on Burdett Road, but I think that's just how they've got to try and ride him with a late challenge. But I agree with that. I think the way Sergino travelled through that race, I just thought it looked like he'd come on a bundle from that previous run. Joe, I mean, you were a big fan of Burdett Road before. I mean, I can't really see him reversing that kind of form, even if it weren't really his true running. I just thought the way Sergino cantered through that and the finishing speeds and things like that have been well touted on Twitter. I mean, I'm really excited about this horse. Obviously, I put him up the other week, so I'm on him for the triumph. I think he's the one to be on. I know Ireland's going to have a few shares at this weekend, but what are your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, mate. I mean, Willie hasn't showed his hand yet, has he? Or that's what Twitter's saying. But Sergino, I mean, for me, the most impressive part was his jumping. He looked very, very crabby, didn't he, the first day? But how fluent he was jumping, and like I say, he showed a turn of foot. I mean, Burdett Road, he's had a fair crack, hasn't he? And yeah, Sergino looked a different level to me, to be honest. He strung them out in behind. To be fair, I think the early pace probably helped Burdett Road, and he won at Cheltenham before and he stormed up the hill. Was it the same and Sergino's too quick, or did he tire out? I'm not too sure, but I think Burdett Road still looked awful, didn't he? He didn't travel with as much class as Sergino, and I was firmly put my place there.
Yeah, certainly. Well, the shouts of he's going to bolt up were soon silenced. Rich, we were obviously at Doncaster watching it on the big screen. I mean, now we're ecstatic. I mean, Stay Away Fair weren't able to land a charity double for me, but I was over the moon with Sergino. I'm buzzing with that pick. Are you going to be on board with him as well?
Yeah, I think you've got to be. He's the best thing we've seen for the triumph at the minute. I mean, he won by 10 lengths, and Bernadette Road's rated 101 on the flat. So Bernadette Road's not a bad horse. I actually thought he jumped quite well. He just couldn't match Sergino, could he? So I think someone compared the time saying that he actually ran quicker than Lossy Mouth, which I think is some effort. So yeah, he's the one to beat, I think. I'm sure I read somewhere that Harry Cobden says that this is the guy he thinks is going to win the triumph. So who am I to argue with that?
Yeah, I think he had a couple of comments after sort of saying what a machine Sergino is. Good old Bernadette Road was left in his smoke there. I know you keep saying the name wrong, but that's why we're laughing. But Yeah, no, I think he's the one to be on for the triumph. Obviously, there's going to be a big race at the weekend with the DRF, so we'll see what happens with the Irish juveniles and which one comes out of that race to take him on. Right, the next one I'm going to move on to then is Jinny's Destiny. Obviously won the handicap chase. I'll come back round to you, Rich. I'll go the other way if I can. Obviously taking the stage star route. Is he a live turner's chance in a pretty open market? I know Gaelic Warriors up in the air. We don't know which way he's going to go. What are your thoughts?
I think he's got to be. Nichols did the same thing with Stage Star last year. It's a route he likes to take. If you take Gaelic out the turners, it's wide open, in my opinion. A lot of horses probably going to be aimed elsewhere. So yeah, I think he's got a good chance. Obviously, he didn't win first time out, but since then I think he's 3 on the bounce now. I mean, he's gone from 133 to 147. He won off at the weekend. So yeah, I think he's a good each way sort of proposition for the turners.
Yes, fair enough, Joe. I mean, you've backed Stage Star for the Ryanair. Are you keeping a tab on Jinny's Destiny and taking that same route for the turners?
Yeah, definitely, mate. He's got the same racing style, hasn't he? Go out there, make all, and be hard to catch. The race that sticks in my head was the one at Cheltenham just before Christmas, when Krabilly fell, and a lot of people were on him. But I think the way he powered clear up the hill was pretty impressive. And then obviously he's backed it up again at Cheltenham, beating Grey Dawning. I know Grey Dawning smashed. Was it the second last or last, coming to a standstill? But even that's decent form in there. And he's gone back to Cheltenham again. He's been to Cheltenham 4 times this year, won 3 times. I just think, he's won off top weight there. What more would you want? Course winner 3 times this season. Exactly the same route as the winner last year. Like I say, what more do you want?
Well, that's it. And I'll come to you, Shat. I mean, he's obviously banking a lot of Cheltenham experience. I mean, you'll know how important a little bit of experience must be when you go into certain courses. I mean, do you think? I mean, we spoke about the turners plenty of times over the last few weeks, and we're struggling to find somebody to sort of go with apart from Gaelic. I mean, what did you think on Jinny's Destiny?
I mean, I was very impressed with the way that he's won there. I mean, and obviously he clearly likes the track. I mean, I know that if a horse likes the track, why would you not go back there? Do you know what I mean? That winning 3 or 4 chase starts there, it's why would you not go? Why wouldn't you go back? So yeah, it's one of those, and I think the fact that he always travelled. He always looked comfortable travelling. Like he was on the bridle without being too revvy, without being, he was just comfortable. And things like that, I feel like are very important, especially to get into a good rhythm. Jumping wise, he jumped well. He was travelling well. He likes the track. I think it's a very positive thing. And again, I think why not? Like absolutely. And again, Gaelic Warrior. I mean, yeah, like you say, we don't know what he's going to do yet. He also makes the running, so that would probably be interesting if they were both in the same race. Sometimes horses like it out front. If they're not out front, you don't know how they could run differently. But again, it's one of them. I'd probably like to see him in that race as well, to be fair.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like we said before, I mean, unless you're going to go for Gaelic in the turns and take the risk, I mean, he might beat Marine National at the weekend, who knows, but Jinny's Destiny is the one that's kind of coming out of the pack at the moment. So fingers crossed that's where they go. And it's the race for him, and he's definitely got a really good chance in it. The next one then is one of my selections. I've put in here. Obviously, I put Stay Away Fail for the Browns, and he's taken on the Open Company with Capodanno. I mean, a lot of money came for him late on. It was the outsider. Then I think he went off favourite at 7-2. Unfortunately, we lost That's All Right Gino, which is a real shame. A brilliant servant to the sport. And Royal Pagaille fell as well, so it kind of fell apart a little bit. But, Charlotte, I mean, what do you think? When you get novices going up against Open Companies sort of before the time in a way, do you think it was a good run from him? And what do you think of Capodanno? Well, I mean, it could be a Gold Cup / Ryanair style horse if they decide to go which way. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when they're that age, they could be anything, couldn't they? You just don't know what you've kind of got on your hands, and it kind of like unfolds the more racing they kind of get. For me, I thought Stay Away Fair, he looked to be full of running turning in. However, it just sort of seemed to hit a flat spot up the running really after the last. It was kind of a strange one because he stayed on after that again, didn't he? And you'd think another furlong and he'd have had that race there. But yeah, there was for some reason just a flat spot, and whether that was inexperience, you know, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a trainer there, but yeah, there was just a flat spot that was a little bit more concerning, where you think, where's that kind of come from? But the way that it kind of ran on afterwards, and you know, but it was almost a little bit too much too late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's one of them. It makes you wonder if they've just gone a little bit quicker than he's maybe used to, as he just, like you say, hit a bit of a flat spot, petered out. But then obviously Stanniman's kicked in again, and we know he stays really well, and he's just got that last little bit. But it makes you wonder, dropping back into novice, would anything be able to get him into that flat spot? Maybe, maybe not. Joe, I mean, it opens it up a little bit. But I mean, he didn't win, obviously, but it did look like it was going well turning in. I mean, I'm still confident for the Browns. I think, obviously, you're going to have the weekend. There's Grange Clare West running. There's Factor File might end up in the Browns. It's just so open with the Irish. You don't know where they're all going to go. There's that many of them. I mean, what did you think of first the Capodanno and obviously Stay Away Fair?
Yeah, I mean, when you look back, Capodanno was pretty overlooked in the betting. I mean, I know he's
warm now in here. Sorry, go on.
I know he's finished 23 lengths behind Galloping Deschamps in Ireland, but he was only ahead behind Jerry Colombe. You know, he's ran him to the line. Obviously, Willie's brought him over here. You know, he's brought a few over, but I wouldn't be disappointed with Stay Away Fair. Like Charlotte said, he seemed to hit a flat spot, but he's carried on. He stuck his head out. You know, to be out of novice company and do that. You know, the form with Giovinco was questionable before that, wasn't it? But obviously, he's shown that he has something about him here. The real whacker, I know he hasn't performed this year, but again, he has form ties with Jerry Colombe in the Brown Advisory last year, just beating him. One thing I would say that worries me, though, is I do really like Grange Clare West, and I think he might be a bit tap for toe. You know, if he does find that flat spot again, fingers crossed he doesn't. But I just think he might have a bit too much to do staying on. But like I say, I mean, he's probably going to improve from that again. And like I say, you can't be disheartened or disappointed from that, can you? I mean, they're all, you know, they've all got a lot of experience there apart from him. So I think he's ran a good race, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, this is the whole thing. And you have all these horses running over 3 miles, especially the Irish, and the Turners is wide open at the moment. I kind of looked into I was trying my hardest to find a Turner's horse this week. And I was looking at Grange Clare West. If he wins at the weekend, do they see him as maybe a little bit more classy, and they might not want to give him a grueling running a Brown Advisory against some of these out and out stayers? So I wonder if he could be one that maybe drops back, because he has won over 2.5 in the past.
The only thing I remember Willie saying this last season over hurdles when he was disappointing, that this would be his aim for this season. And the only reason I haven't put him on my Ante-post is because I think the horse is made of glass. And I'd worry that he might not get to Cheltenham, or he might not end up fit. But I think if he wins, if you're going to have a bet, I'd probably take on running no bet with him. Because, you know, if he does turn up, he's probably going to be short. But I think you might be right there. There is a few doubts in him at this point in time of the season.
Yeah, that's true. What are your thoughts then, Rich, on Stay Away Fair's performance and Capodanno? You know, big ups to him. I mean, the money came obviously late on. Town and gave him a really good ride, kept him cold out the back, and picked it up late on. I mean, is he in the Gold Cup picture now? Would you say, or is he a Ryanair potentially? Now,
well, he's only got a Ryanair entry, so I assume he's going to.
There you go then. Yeah. That shut me up.
But I think the Ryanair would be too short for him. He's a 3 miler, so I won't be backing for the Ryanair. Stay Away Fair, I don't really know what to think of it. I mean, it was a good run. He's finished third behind 2 horses that are rated 160, so it is a very good run. I would be slightly concerned going into a Browns now. I just think that was a tough race against seasoned stayers, and he did battle with Giovinco. I'd say that was a tough old race as well. It's just, I don't know. Like Charlotte said, he hit a flat spot again. If he does it again, I think that potentially might see him finish behind Grange Clare West for the Browns. So he's in with a shout, but I'd be concerned.
The one thing I would say as well, it went pretty quick, didn't he, up front? I just think, you know, the race is probably played in Stay Away Fair's hands in terms of, remember the first day out he had to make his own run in, he was bound to find a bit of a flat spot, wasn't he, turning for home and stay on. I just think here he's had, not his own way, but he's had a fast pace to aim at, and he sort of hit the flat spot again, I would just probably worry there, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'd give him a little bit of a chance. I mean, it's his first time in the race where he's not had to make his own running at a much higher level. I think he should always give him a chance to experience that, and then we'll see how he goes. Like I say, if he goes straight to the festival now, obviously the proof will be in the race, so we will see how he gets on, and hopefully he wins for me. Right then, I'm going to flick to you, Rich, because I know you're broken-hearted with John Bomb. Obviously, the muggy hackers were in the bin, the slips were in the bin, the tears were flowing on Saturday. I mean, anything that could go wrong went wrong, didn't it? I mean, he did well to stay up after that massive error, but a bit gutted. Would you say that he didn't still win? But obviously, it took a lot out of him. What do you think, mate? What are your thoughts?
I mean, we stood in the bar queue, weren't we, watching it? And
good job we were in the bar queue, really, because she'd have got about 4 pints after that.
Yeah.
Were you able to afford a pint, Rich, or not?
I had to buy it for him.
Yeah, I had nothing left after that. Yeah, I mean, it was a really bad error. He did well to stay on his feet. Let's be honest about it. But I just don't know. Like, he seems so solid this season that he should have just gone and won it. But then, yeah, the bad error 4 out, and he did actually well to get back up to Elixir de Nux. But yeah, I don't know. I can't be having him for a champion chase now. I just don't know. I'm losing faith.
Didn't take long. I mean, Joe, obviously, you've got El Fabio. Have you got El Fabio in your team, haven't you?
Captain, mate. Yeah,
he's your captain, so you're obviously big on him. I mean,
captain him at 4 to 6, didn't he, James?
You captained him at 4 to 6 on or something like that. Yeah, I think it was. I think he got 1 to 2 on or something. Yeah, I mean, obviously, he didn't look I mean, to be fair to John Bomb, he didn't look himself from the minute they went off. Really, he didn't really get in much of a rhythm. A couple of snatchy jumps, made the massive error. Even then, I thought, oh well, he's coming to win. He went past Elixir de Nuts, didn't he? And you're thinking, oh well, fair play. He's done well to win it from where he is. He's obviously good enough. And then his effort just petered out. But are you worried? Does El Fabio?
I kind of think that maybe Cheltenham might not be his track. I mean, I know he's won over there, but I wouldn't say his best performances have come there.
Maybe he didn't like the undulations or something. I don't know.
To be honest, I wasn't too impressed with his Sandown run where he only beat Edwardstone by 2 lengths. I know it was on heavy ground, but Edwardstone, I mean, he bombed out, didn't he? Cheltenham in the champion chase that year. He clearly didn't like it. He's a 10-year-old. Elixir de Nuts is a 10-year-old. Fair enough, he's had that, the bad error, but, someone as highly classed as John Bond should be breezing him aside, as he's come up alongside him. He guessed at the last, hasn't he? Whether that's in his mind, I don't know. But I just think this season, I mean, albeit he's won 2 or 3 races, 2 races. The first one at Cheltenham, I know he's beat Edwardstone by 9 lengths, but if you watch it again, he's about 10 lengths, turning for home. Nico sits on him. I wouldn't say, he flies up the hill. And I just think he's obviously being caught out there, but, does he stand a chance against El Fabiola? I don't think so. Everyone was saying that would maybe be one thing that could get El Fabiola beat is jumping, John Bond to pressure him. But after that, can John Bond beat El Fabiola? I don't think so now.
Yeah, certainly up in the air now. I mean, Charlotte, one question for you before you give us your opinion. I mean, how hard would you say it would be for James Bowen to have stayed on from that error? I mean, it were pretty bad.
I mean, I'd have been on the deck, so yeah, for him to for the partnership to have even stayed intact was that was pretty. Yeah, I was shocked he actually managed to stay on. So let alone really even come up and get to the front. In with a chance of actually winning the race. And to be honest, a mistake like that, although the horse managed to sort of get back up in front, from the eye, just watching it on the telly, you probably don't realise how much it actually takes out of a horse making a mistake like that, because then they've got to use up their energy again to get back involved with the race. And then to be honest, for me, he lost it at the last fence. That was where had he got a better jump at the last, I think he still might have been able to just nick it. But he just got in tight at the last, and I think that is the difference between which cost him the race and which didn't. Obviously, the mistake 4 out was absolutely, he probably should have been on the deck after that. You know what I mean? That wasn't to make a recovery from a mistake like that was unreal. Both jockey and horse. But like I say, I just think he's had to use his energy getting back involved in the race there. He's then missed the last, so he's again had to use more energy where he's lost a length or two on Alexa de Nuts there. And then, of course, by the time the lines come, he's literally just run out and just tired. So, again, I think for me, the horse that's had a better jumping round is obviously the one that's won the race, and he has lost it through his jumping there, but it was probably more the last fence where, I mean, 4 out was sort of too far back in the race for it to have impacted too much to an extent in the way the result panned out. Like I say, for me, he just really could have done with winging the last, and he just sort of didn't. He was just in tight. And I think if you watch him earlier on in the race, when he gets in tight, and this is obviously when the pressure isn't on, this is obviously, I think, was it the second fence or the third fence that he kind of hit with his chest? When he gets in, when he's right, he's really exuberant over a fence and he can make up lengths in the air. However, when he's wrong, he kind of just hits the fence with his chest. He doesn't really, he gets in tight and then he just sort of goes through it. Well, which, obviously none of us want to be on a horse doing that at all, but he's got away with it early on in the race where it hasn't mattered. But when he's trying to get in tight like that at the last, where it really, really does matter, in these higher levels, that is just the difference between winning and losing right there. So for me, he needs to jump better. And prior to the weekend's run, I've often thought this. I mean, he's quite a revy type of horse. Obviously, he's always sweating up down at the start and things like that. He clearly is on it. He's clearly revy. He clearly thinks about his racing a lot. And yeah, I think in general he can be a little bit guessy. He has been guessy and not really fluent in his past runs anyway. So I think it's unfair to just put it all down to that one run. But for me, he just needs to jump. He needs to jump more slick, especially in the champion chase, because the pace is on. Everything you can't miss a beat. So
yeah, I agree with that. And I suppose
the next step him up next season.
Took words out of my mouth. I mean, I was going to say, I mean, would you, on the basis of that, maybe think of a Ryanair instead of going against El Fabio, or do you just not? You stick to the same plan?
I think that he's always had it in his mind, hasn't he, for champion chase? To be fair, he got so lit up though. I know Charlotte said he's very buzzy, but he just never looked to be on it. You know what? He just, for a 1-4 shot, you want them to be settled, nice position. He just didn't look right to the eye, did he? All the way around. I mean, he wasn't making up any ground at the fences. I mean, no disrespect to the horse he was up against, but they're not unbelievable, are they? I know we spoke to George before and he was on about Editor de G, and he basically said the only way you can get this lad beat really is a mistake or getting in James Bourne's head. And obviously the mistake hasn't helped, but I just think he was too buzzy throughout the race. I just wasn't taking it all, to be honest.
Well, like Charlotte said there, he does get quite lively beforehand, and the odd little mistake, and suddenly it kind of compounds, and he's making even more mistakes, and obviously that ended up with a big one. So, I mean, obviously anyone who's backed him, you won't give up hope. You can always sort of give a horse a bad run, and what he does next time, whether they go straight there now or they get another run into him somewhere, maybe like a confidence boost.
Is he 9-2? I'd be tempted to back him each way, maybe at that.
Well, he's going to get less than 5-1 each way. You back each way at 2-1, don't you, Rich?
Oh, behave.
Anyway, that's John. Go on, then. Any more, Rich?
No, fine.
We're not back 10 to 11 shots.
Redman's Game Gold Cup and John Bond Champion Chase, Rich, yeah.
Anyway, right, so moving on then. So, Lossy Mouth, Charlotte, I'll come to you. She's absolutely... come on, she's blown us away, hasn't she?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't really have a lot to say about her, because I think the performance at the weekend was just, well, it was outstanding, wasn't it? I mean, for me, there's the Mares Hurdle winner, so right there. I don't think many of them will come close. She's different gravy, so yeah. That's pretty much it. No negatives.
So I'm ripping up my Love Envoy slip. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you think she'll get 2.5 miles?
To be fair, I've got a soft spot for Love Envoy. I fancied her. I actually tipped her on one of the Cheltenham preview nights a couple of years ago when she did actually win. I would be backing Love Envoy each way, I think. And obviously the form in the champion hurdle behind Honeysuckle last year, I think that's incredible. Obviously, she's followed up with a good second at the weekend. But yeah, I think in terms of that Lossy Mouth, that race, Lossy Mouth is, I don't think many are going to come close.
Yeah, it's certainly tough. I mean, me and Rich had a conversation on Saturday. I was sort of in the mind that 2.5 mile, if it's a little bit softer, I think Love Envoy does get closer. Whether she'd be able to beat him, I don't think she would, but it's certainly not looking that way. What do you think, Rich? You're shaking your head.
She just wins.
Are you backing her each way at 4 to 6, yeah?
Whatever acres you want to build, make sure she's in it, is all I can say, because she wins. I'm gutted that I didn't get her in my team earlier, but it was just a bit of a risk. Nobody's seen her, but obviously she's been flying at home, and yeah.
Yeah, we won't say too much. I mean, George, quick word. I mean, obviously, none of us have got her in the team because the whole, trying forces don't do well the second season, all that sort of stuff. But she's kind of putting that to bed straight away, isn't she?
Yeah, I think Willie's changed the mould, hasn't he? To be fair, it's probably a dream scenario, really. Goodish ground, Cheltenham 2 mile one. I know she was up against it, but Love Envoy probably wants steeper ground, First Street and Rabard, probably pace setters. I wouldn't say it was an easy race to win. She's done it mightily impressive, but I just think it wasn't a grueler for her first race back. Dream start, really. She's given a long break. She's answered all the right questions, and yeah, she's the one. She's the one for March, isn't she? Really?
Yeah, she is at this point in time, I think. Sweet, we'll leave that one then. Moving on then, the Stayers Hurdle race, the one that Paisley again. Oh, absolutely broke me out again. I basically back him every single time, and I can't believe he's been done late on. I come to you, Charlotte. No, you what, Rich?
Back him to place.
I don't do these place bets that you've suddenly started doing loads of. It's just not for me. You're either in it to win it or you're not. So, Charlotte, I mean, obviously, a quick word on the older generation of stayers putting themselves on the desk again, and Noble Yeats has come in and won. And would you say he's now a live Stayers Hurdle player now?
I mean, he's got to be, hasn't he? After that, I'm a big fan of Paisley Park. I really am. But yeah, Noble Yeats, you can't knock that performance. I actually wanted to see, prior to the weekend, I was hoping I'd see Noble Yeats in the cross country, actually, because I kind of thought, well, that he's going to stay, and often these national horses seem to quite like them kind of fences, and the cross country fences, they often take to them quite well. So again, yeah, I was thinking, oh, happy days, like if he runs in that, But now, I mean, again, this is why I'm not the trainer, because now it's kind of like after that performance, you think, well, he'd have a rightly placed in the Stayers Hurdle as well. So, I mean, he's going to stay. He's obviously ran over hurdles the last couple of times, and he's ran really well. I mean, I know he ran over in France over the 3 mile 6, and he just didn't, for some reason, didn't like it, didn't operate. And obviously, whether they've just ran him over hurdles for a confidence boost and then they've thought, why not keep it that way? I mean, I don't know what the answer is there, but yeah, absolutely, you're going to want to see him in that, aren't you? After the way he's done that.
Yeah, heart's broken again for poor Pairs. I mean, Rich, we were watching it. I think he's definitely a live player in the Stayers Hurdle. Like I say, he's not had that many runs over hurdles, so you would say there's probably improvements to come if he can keep going, but it's a bit of a master stroke from old Emmett Mullins to put him in there and have a crack at that. What do you think?
I don't really know.
It's a tough race to Stayers. This. I mean, I've got two.
I can't put my finger on it. I mean, gutted for Paisley Park, but second again. But he was giving away £6, I think, to Noble Yeats. But his form is actually holding up quite well this year. I mean, he's been second 3 times now. Could he win a Stayers? I mean, I think there'd be a massive cheer if he did. But
just imagine that if he won it. Imagine.
I don't know. Noble Yeats, yeah. I mean, he won. I just can't get excited about the Stayers this year. I don't know why. I mean, I'm on Sir Gerhard, so
that's why you can't get excited.
It was a good performance, like you say. Yeah, it was a cracking race. Coming, I think over the last, I think there was maybe 4, was there, in the line?
They're all in it, really, weren't they? He was a really good advocate for these horses that are getting a bit older that can still come and put put a big day in.
Yeah, it was a cracking race to watch, but have we seen the Stayers hurdle winner? I don't really know.
Joe, do you agree with that?
Yeah, mate, I wouldn't give up on Paisley Park. Like I say, they'll be going off level weights. Nobody should improve, will improve. To be fair, Harry Cobden was the eye-catching jockey booking, wasn't it? And as soon as he got, I think it was about 5-1 or something, and Harry Cobden got put on and he went straight 7-2 and then into 3-1s. But I wouldn't give up on Paisley Park. You know, he's hit that flat spot, but he has now rattled home. You know, get that £6 back at Cheltenham. I just feel like there's going to be there's got to be something in there to beat these, hasn't there? Surely. Do you know one horse who I keep going back to, and I know he done me at Haydock, Crambo. I think for a young horse, the way he's the only horse I've seen to put it up against Paisley Park in a finish. You normally see Paisley Park closing. Crambo sort of gained a bit on Paisley Park. I think they might have left a bit on there. I'm quite keen on Crambo for the Stays.
Fair enough. Like I say, well, I'm assuming he's in your team this week. Then no,
no,
but he might be one that you get in your team very soon. And if you fancy him, mate, I mean, we backed him, didn't we, Richard? I put a couple of quid on him at a big price. He ain't in my official team, but I covered him a little bit. I just think he's the improver in it. But
Paisley Park took the Haydock route, didn't he? That they obviously took, and then it didn't work out. They took Conor Brace off, didn't they? After that, I couldn't believe he lost that.
You've got to be 10 plus to win the Stayers, so he's got no chance.
Rattled home. 12 plus now.
16-year-old to win it, haven't you?
12 plus now, Rich.
Anyway, we'll soon get into the Stayers as we get close to the festival. So the next one, I'll move on to them last few before we move on. Gidley Park, obviously a hard-fought win. I'll come to you, Rich, if I can. I'll swing around that way. He's kind of the UK hope for the Ballymore at this moment in time. I do think he'll get beat by something from the Irish, but it was a decent performance in the end to still get up and win. I know a few have said maybe up in trip, but I think the Albert Bartlett might be a bit grueling for him. Do you think he's a nice one for the Ballymore, maybe?
I think he's a nice horse. Will he win the Ballymore? No. It was, like I say, it was a workmanlike performance. He did it well. He's unbeaten. You can't knock him for it. I just think the Irish have probably got something better to beat us with. I would be slightly concerned about Johnny Hugh going into Cheltenham now. I was quite concerned that they brought him back quite soon after that grueling race on heavy going. He's one to probably leave now for the Albert Bartlett. But yeah, that's what I take from that.
Well, on that note, I'll come to you, Joe. I mean, you were quite big on Johnny Hugh. What did you think of his performance in Gidley Park? Are you still thinking Johnny Hugh's you're in for the Albert Bartlett, are you?
Yeah, I was surprised they took this route, to be honest. I really was surprised. But obviously, when we've obviously been to the Green All Yard, and, they've mentioned about, not stepping horses up too quick. I wonder if that's played in their mind, but he's a 3 mile point-to-point winner. He looked like he needed every yard of that Challow trip. I'm very, very surprised that, they didn't step him up on that, especially after a grueling race. I don't know why they'd want to give him a sort of speed testing away on good ground at Cheltenham. I just didn't really get it, but obviously Isaac De Zorba, who's finishing third, we've heard he's pretty backwards at the minute. So I don't think that's great form. And in terms of Gidley Park winning the Ballymore, I think he's miles off, to be honest. I know he's done it workmanlike and stuff, but, just watching him, last year, Willie brought out Impere Pass, he had something special. He's got to have something else that's going to, let's be honest, smash the English.
Potentially, I mean, I'll come to you, Shat. I mean, we spoke about on our last show, we said the UK are always desperate for something to be on our side against the Irish, and he seems to be the only one that's kind of giving it a go. I mean, what did you think, and what do you think of his chances?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I thought he won well. He where we are. So I think he's a big strapping horse, and to be honest, for me, he actually looks like he will improve in time. I think he still looks quite weak, actually. I know that's sort of a bit strange considering I'm saying in one breath he's a big strapping horse, but he still looked green in moments there when he was jumping, sort of like looking at, like wandering around a little bit at the hurdles. And for me, I definitely think he'll be one for the future. I think in the next sort of season or two, he'll probably improve again and again. Obviously, I'd like to see him at Cheltenham there. And sometimes when when they have had a race like that and they've won like that, they do learn a lot. And like you'd be surprised at how fast they can actually improve and how much they learn sort of every time they sort of run, really. But yeah, for me, I think he just needs probably more experience. I know he's obviously doing well and he's clearly got an engine and got ability, but there's a lot of animal there. There's a lot of engine. I feel like he just needs to build the strength and fill into that frame and just start operating with a little bit more maturity, and then I think he probably will potentially be, a nice horse in a season or two's time. Oh, clearly he is already a nice horse, absolutely.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? He'll strengthen again and again. So I think there's probably more to come from him as well.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that as well. I mean, we do get it all the time, and they sort of say, "Oh, chaser in the making" and things like that. I think he is the type of horse that's definitely going to improve.
Well, this is it. I mean, you've seen the size of him, like compared to the rest of the field. He was massive. He stood out as he was huge. He was absolutely huge, but he kind of looked like a baby giraffe huge, sort of like quite gangly and sort of. Do you know what I mean? He looked like, to me, he just could do with filling out more, and that will only come with time and racecourse experience. I mean, he's clearly doing very well. That's absolutely fine. But I think he's exciting for the future.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we've seen it so many times. Rich, you'll know. I mean, your Brave Man's Games who have gone into a Ballymoney beat and then gone on to be really good chasers.
Who, James?
You what, Joe?
Who was that?
I said Brave Man's Game's gone on to be an okay chaser.
You said he's a really good chaser.
I said he's an all right chaser. He didn't do bad last year. He's terrible this year, though.
I'm going to clip that section, James, where you say...
Don't be clipping that. We'll have none of that. Right, moving on then. So, last couple. We go to Donny. Obviously, went on Saturday to Doncaster, me and you, Rich. Jericho de Rep has thrown everyone into a spin. He was in there at the top of the market, near enough with Mystical Power of the Supreme. He's only entered in the Supreme, so that's his target. Rich, were you impressed watching it live? I was. Obviously, we had a bit of a bet on him. I was very, very nervous watching the last couple of jumps. What did you think about him going forward? Is he a serious Supreme contender?
I wasn't blown away. I was impressed how he battled at the line, though. I thought that was good. I think he'll come on for that loads. Whether or not he'll win a Supreme on that performance, probably not. But like I say, it's his only entry. I think he'll go close. He'll learn a lot, but I just think there's probably better horses in there with a better chance.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I'll come to you, Charlie, if I can. As a jockey, when you're sat on a horse like that, and I mean, I think Mark said that they went really slow and it turned into a bit of a sprint. How much would that really affect a horse of that caliber? Would he want to be going at a faster pace? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you need a good gallop and you've not got one, and sometimes if you're not on the horse to sort of make the running and make that gallop yourself, it does become difficult. And we kind of often say, like, if you're at the back of a sprint, you've got no chance. Do you know what I mean? If they kick off in front, you haven't, especially if you're on a stayer. It just doesn't play into your strengths at all. So that is something. But I mean, for me, he looked he almost looked a bit reluctant to pass the horse in front. He looked like he was just kind of trying to lug in behind a little bit. And he was sort of leaning up that way. I mean, once he got past, like I say, he sort of stretched on. And like whether he was just struggling a little bit, like you say, if they've turned it into a sprint or not, but it was just the way he was lugging for me. I'd have preferred a bit more sort of straightness, so I'd probably agree with Richie there, to be fair.
Yeah, I think I might have even said that when it was happening. Rich, I sort of said, he don't want to go past. He don't want to go past.
Yeah.
Luckily, when he did go past, he went past. Because I was thinking, I said to Rich before, I quite like lump sum, but I didn't think this race would have suited him at all. I thought it'd be way too quick for him. And I thought he did get outpaced, but stayed on well at the end. I think he's a nice horse going forward.
Did you see the clip of Nicky Henderson watching it in the Cheltenham bookies? And behind him.
Yeah, like you watching John Bond, but obviously didn't end as well. But Jericho de Rep, though, I mean, a lot of people are on him at massive prices, and they'll obviously go off a cliff with him now. What are your thoughts, mate? Before we move on to the last one.
Yeah, Charlotte mentioned there about a stay, in a sprint, and I don't think it was disappointing. You know, when I looked at the times, you know, when I was looking through Lossy Mouth and stuff like that, they really did go pretty slow. And I mean, I wouldn't say it's a bunch finish, but the top three finished 2 lengths within each other. You know, like I say, I think I believe he was about 72.41 before the race, and he's about 8s now. You know, I don't think that warranted that big drift. He'll have obviously learned a lot from digging in there, and I just think, you know, it's happened every year, hasn't it? Really, you know, apart from last year, really, a lot of the time, Willie Mullins will put a steer in the Supreme and a speed horse in the Ballymore. He done it last year, and I just think that, you know, how fast they go off in front in the Supreme will play into his hands. You know, coming from a 3 mile point-to-point background, he clearly gets that. I think the Supreme and other races will play in his hands. I think he'll learn a lot. I'm pretty keen on him still for the Supreme, to be honest.
Fair play, mate. Well, we'll see what happens later on. So the last one then, before we move on to our next segment, is I'll come to you, Shell. Astro Diamond. The mares, her and Gallimar So came over under control in behind. I mean, what I didn't realise is it was only Patrick Mullins' second ever ride at Doncaster. That kind of shocked me a little bit. I was surprised at that, but she's done it really well there on the bridle. What do you think of her and maybe Gallimar So going forward?
Yeah, I mean, she's clearly a nice mare, absolutely. But I think in terms of Cheltenham and the mare's hurdle and things, again, I can't get away from Lossy Mouth, and that's for everything. So so yeah, obviously she won well. It was a good performance, but in terms of the company and grade and things like that going forward, for me, I would have to go with that one with Lossy Mouth. So there's no sort of comparison there. Do you know what I mean? I know they're in 2 separate races and things, but and it's a bit of a shame really, because sort of when you come up against a horse sort of like that, it almost sort of takes away any other chance that you might think you've kind of got. So it is a bit of a shame for her, but that's at the end of the day what she's going to be up against. So yeah, it's poor girl.
Do you think, a quick question for you then, do you think Lossy Mouth would give the almighty Constitution Hill a run if they went down the champion hurdle route? I know they won't do, but if the chucks are in right now,
come on, James.
Would she give him a run getting £7?
I don't know. You can't say, can you? I mean, it'd be interesting with £7 penalty. Obviously, the mares, they're not as strong, but I mean, Constitution Hill is a freak, isn't he? I mean, in a good way, in the best way possible. He's an absolute machine. There's nothing that comes close. So, I'd have to side with Constitution Hill all day long.
Well, hopefully she'll probably end up in there, not this year, maybe next year, we'll see. But Rich, I mean, we were there for Astro Diamond. She won it well. I would probably say that Lossy Mouth's the one to be on between them two. What do you think? Yeah,
I'm kind of gutted we didn't really back her, because looking back, it looked obvious with Patrick Mullins only having 2 rides at Donny in his whole life.
I backed Under Control.
Yeah, I know. Should have backed the place.
I just thought the good ground. I thought she'd do all right. She had about 3 wind-ups in a row, something like that.
I mean, she won it very impressively, though. She never looked in trouble at all, whereas Danny on Gallimar, so you could tell he knew his number was up 2, 3 out. But yeah, she'll not get anywhere near Lossy Mouth. I just wonder if they'll maybe skip Cheltenham with her. She didn't go last year. We'll see. I think it'd be interesting in Lossy Mouth Conhill next year, though.
We'll see.
I would give it a squeak, maybe.
Never.
Maybe next year when they're all a year older, maybe. We'll see. Joe, I mean, the mare's hurdles, basically the first 5 home are going to be Willie Mullins, but what do you think of Astro?
Yeah, 100% mare was impressive. Like I say, you know, she's that bit older. She had a bit more, but to be fair, she's still lightly raced for a 7-year-old. But like Richard there, I'm probably under the influence now. She might skip this and go, to Ireland in April or something like that. But yeah, impressive again. But Lossy Mouth stole the glory, really, didn't she? Yeah. But one horse I'm going to mention before we skip Donny. Did you watch the ride Daryl Jacob gave on? Let me get the horse in 1 second.
It's not the one James backed, is it?
It's not the one I backed that he kept 6 wide all the way around 3 mile, right?
Was it against? No, it was against Woodall called Green Sky. Right. Next time I'll just back that in a handicap. Watch the race. Pulling. I didn't back it though, but pulling absolute double and didn't land a glove. That was its third run to get its handicap mark. I think next time out it goes in.
Right, well, we'll see. Fantastic. Right, well, that's the weekend reviewed. Thank you guys for all your opinions. That was obviously a brilliant weekend. So fingers crossed we have the same again this weekend. So if we can now, what we normally do is, Charlotte, we're going to sort of maybe just ask you about a couple of your rides you've had, maybe what you thought of them horses and where they're maybe going to go next, your sort of view, and then maybe a horse or two to follow. I think, Rich, you've got the old list there ready to go.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3, I think I'd like to mention. We'll, if we can, we'll start with Union Avenue.
Union Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the plan with him, we've actually got a listed bumper at Newbury on the cards on the 10th of Feb, but he wants soft ground. So if the ground's not soft, he won't go. He won't run, I don't think. He's a nice big horse. If he didn't run again this season, that wouldn't be the end of the world. He's obviously won twice. He won nicely at Aintree, and to be honest, he's probably going to be a big chaser. So he'll probably come into himself again by about sort of 6 and 7 year old, really. So the plan is just to really take our time with him. He's doing everything right so far. We can't knock anything he's done. He doesn't owe any of us anything. So we want to kind of do right by him, really, and look after him. But he's definitely one of my ones to follow. He's an exciting horse. I ride him every single day, so that helps. It helps because I know him, and yeah, he stays. He just gallops and gallops and keeps galloping, and he's a real professional about his job.
Well, he beat a horse that we like from the Greenall and Guerrero yard in Gamesters Guy, who I know they're quite keen on. So I think that's strong form. So
absolutely. And obviously Farlander Paul Nichols was 4th at Punchestown, and I think they fancied that horse at Aintree quite a lot. I was quite confident in Union Avenue. We were sort of toying with whether to go to Aintree or not, and whether we might find an easier bumper. And in the end, we kind of just thought, do you know what? If we're not there, we won't win anything. But I was quietly confident. He was my one. I thought I'd nearly win the bumper. He's just been doing everything right at home, and he's been improving with every piece of work, and he gets stronger and stronger every single time. So yeah, he's an exciting horse.
Very good. The next one I've got noted down is Great Pepper, and I think he's entered in the Albert Bartlett currently.
Yes, he is. So he obviously holds the entry in the Albert Bartlett. He does need to go up a couple of pounds, I think, a few pounds first. So I think we plan on going to Haydock with him, up in company, see how he gets on. And obviously, depending how he runs there and how well he goes, then we might take on Cheltenham. So we'll see. Obviously, it's in the owner's court. They're obviously really happy to be able to have an entry there. And as we all are, we're only a small team. We've not got the ammunition some of these big yards have. So it's nice to be able to have some horses that, you can actually look at entries at Cheltenham with. But yeah, he's a nice horse as well. He does everything. He's really straightforward, which as a jockey, it really helps you when they are straightforward, because you can kind of leave the jump into them, leave the run into them, and you can just concentrate on riding the race and sort of riding tactically rather than a million other things at once. So yeah, it's nice to deal with straightforward horses and things, and he obviously operates and does his job well.
Good stuff. And the last one I have is a mare, Luna Discovery. I think she finished 2nd at Haydock in a listed contest.
She's a nice mare. We do really like her. We like her a lot. The Haydock run was more for experience, to be honest. It was experience, and to see her kind of up in class. And her owner is an owner breeder, so they kind of wanted a little bit of the black type from her. And obviously she's blown us away. Really, we're finishing 2nd. We didn't really expect that from her. so early on in a jumping career. Obviously, that was only second time over hurdles. So yeah, we were really, really chuffed with that. You know, we couldn't, the way she ran, the way she stayed, she was a little bit caught out with the pace early on. Like, she kind of, you know, I was probably, I think, what was her second row, something like that. And by the time I jumped the first, she was at the back, and she kind of didn't really know what to expect jumping at that sort of pace. She hasn't really jumped an obstacle that quick before. So she soon had to cotton on to what a job involved. But fortunately, she warmed up, and she really managed to pick a few off down the back, and obviously that put us in a better position. I missed a couple up the running, which lost me a few lengths. Now, I'm not saying that she'd have won the race, but she'd have been a hell of a lot closer if I'd have got good jumps at 2 or 3 out. But the thing is, that was just experience. That was just lack of experience for her. And the further in her jumping career she goes, them kind of errors will be ironed out. So, yeah, she's a nice one to look forward to.
Good stuff. Yeah, they're the 3 that I had in mind. I mean,
well, I've got one that the missus would kill me if I didn't ask about, but our Sam is obviously a horse you've won on and come second on last time. My missus is called Sam for her, so I've got to get a word on this one. Is there any idea where you're maybe going to take him?
I think there's talk of him going back to Haydock. It was just unfortunate the last day we kind of bumped into a well-handicapped one. Otherwise, I think we'd have maybe had that race. He was flat out all the way. I mean, Bushy Parker, Phil Kirby's, he's a classy animal, and he was obviously well-handicapped. And the thing is, the older they get, they never lose the class, do they? So, you know, they've always kind of got that. And our Sam, he ran a nice race. He didn't miss a trick with his jumping. He was, you know, it was unlucky for him really to have just bumped into Bushy Park. But fingers crossed. Yeah, I think the plan is probably to go somewhere again like Haydock and see what's sort of on the cards there. And hopefully he can get another win up his belt. But yeah.
Fantastic! I love that. I'll be back in next time anyway. I'm back in blind, so he's won some good, decent money over the time. So fingers crossed he does it again.
Yeah, he's a tough little soul. He is a tough little soul.
He certainly looks it. So yeah, well, what we normally do now is, I mean, if you can, we normally ask for maybe 1 or 2 horses to follow from yourself. If there's any that you're looking forward to maybe riding over the next couple of months, or any that you maybe associate with, that you maybe think. We've had some decent winners given to us in there over the few weeks. So
didn't we, off Larkin?
Yeah, Larkin Williams gave us one today. Below the Radar, which won. We had a good one off. Craig Nicol gave us a good one. What was the name of that one, Joe? Doyen DeBar at good price. So I'm looking for the next banker off you, Charlotte. Come on.
Well, I mean, to be honest, the 3 that you've mentioned are probably up there, my horses to follow. Obviously, Bingo as well. He's an improving horse. He won at Aintree on Boxing Day. Yeah, he is an improving horse. I really like Bingo a lot. And one that I really quite like, I've got quite fond of, is a little horse we've got. We actually got him out of Neil Mulholland, and he's only a 0 to 100 horse. He's not an absolute world beater. I ride him tomorrow at Newcastle. Secret. He's tough. I know he's got a little bit of a reputation in racing. Not many people like him. Not many people like him because he's hard work, and he's only little, and he's got a lot to say for himself. But I quite like that, and I've really been getting on with him quite well. So he's definitely improved since joining the yard. Obviously, a change of environment and things. And yeah, well, I mean, I ride him every day, and he gets a lot of love from me. So I think he's quite happy about with that. So, and he's definitely doing everything. He's doing everything right. So, and again, like I say, he's no world beater. He's not on par with your Cheltenham horse and things like that. But he is very tough, and I'd like to think he's got at least another win or 2, 3 up his sleeve somewhere, because he is a hard little bugger, and he does keep going, and he doesn't go back down without a fight. So, so yeah, I'd say probably, like I say, Bingo. He's definitely an improving horse as well.
I think I'm going to Newcastle tomorrow now, James.
That's the mortgage money going on tomorrow then.
Don't be telling me that.
you need 2 more wins to ride out your claim, don't you? So could be down to 1 after.
Yeah, I hope so. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We've got 1. We'll see. Yeah, that's it. I mean, sooner the better for me. I'll be happy.
That's a pretty good
Basically,
achievement. I'm
basically
sure
just back Charlotte Hexham because she's 5 from 9, I think, this season.
I know,
Hexham
yeah. I
especially.
mean, to be honest, our gallop at home rises 300 foot. It's probably one of the stiffest gallops in the country, and the amount of rain that we've had recently, it's no surprise really that our horses are running well at Hexham and places stiff tracks like that, because just the way our gallop is riding, it's definitely on the stiff side. So stamina is probably a positive for us.
that's brilliant. I love it. You got something to say, Joe? You're right.
No, so mate. To be fair, I was just going to say, I put my hand up. I remember going to Hexham and it absolutely poured it down. Everyone says, "Oh, it's a lovely track. Get all the views, get everything." I remember I went and it poured. I went Royal Ascot during the week, Red Car on the Saturday, and there's Hexham on the Sunday. I was back to work on the Monday and I was absolutely drenched.
Fantastic. I love it. Right, guys, thanks very much for that shout. We do appreciate that. Like I say, some few little nuggets, and we'll keep an eye out for them horses. Right, so the last section of the show is obviously our Ante-post picks. So we'll fly around the team, and then I'll finish for you. If I can shout, if you've got a selection for Cheltenham, you might want to throw in, that's great. Go on.
Bear with me. Sorry, let me just change my Word document.
Sorry, I'll fly around the lads first, and then we'll finish with our selection. So I'm going to come to you first, Joe. I'm going to stick your team up for you, mate. You can fly through your team real quick, and then you can add your week 12 selection. Take it away, Joe.
Sport mate, so Stage Star looking pretty good now. Iroko, very unfortunate we all had him. Marine National, Banker, Rich. Week 4, El Fabiolo, captain, looking pretty solid now. Brighter days ahead, being backed in too. Marie's Rock not looking so good, although winning at the weekend. In the pocket, unlucky. Injury, Turner's looking wide open. Halka to Tabert, sadly, retired, I believe. Down memory lane, not looking so good. Ashrow Diamond for the mares. Tough, obviously won at the weekend, but Lossy Mouth's probably got that one. And Langer Dan with the handbrake off. Still quite confident with that one. And my week 12 pick will be Jericho de Rep 8-1 for the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Like I say, obviously it's getting tough now, isn't it? We're starting to delve into handicaps and stuff like that. But I thought it was a bit of an overreaction in the market. You know, Mark Walsh was obviously on board, but you know, when you look, they really did go crawl, and I just feel like it wasn't a bad performance. You know, he stuck his neck out, he's won the race, turned into a sprint, and you know, obviously the go clip in the Supreme, you need a horse that stays. He's obviously a 3 mile point to point winner, and for a horse to come and I think jump hurdles as well as he does is pretty impressive. You know, with the Irish, you've got Mystical Power and Ballyburn in there. You know, there's a few others, Farron Glory, Firefox, will they all go? They'll definitely split. Some of them will go Ballymore or Bingham, as it's known now. So I think 8-1 is a fair price at the moment. And yeah, I'll take that.
Fantastic, mate. A nice addition to your team. Right, Rich, I'm going to stick yours up for you, mate.
Injured.
And we'll look at this. I mean, well, actually, first of all, sorry, I totally forgot, but she's gone. Charlotte, you there?
No, I'm here. Sorry, I'm here.
Yeah, so we normally ask the guests sort of their opinion on the selections, and normally they just tell us how bad they are, and in most cases for Rich, they actually tell him that his selection's not even going to a certain race. So, your quick thoughts on Jericho for the Supreme? Do you think he's got a chance?
Sorry, are you asking me?
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm just going to ask you. What do you think Joe's?
Sorry, I thought you just said you. No, I mean, to be honest, I would probably go with one of the Irish horses. I mean, I wasn't overly impressed with the performance at the weekend. Sorry.
Come on, Charlotte.
Sorry.
At least give me a minute before you put the pin in the bubble.
I know, I'm sorry. But I don't bet. So, again, I'm not a betting person and I'm not a stats person. I am there and I ride. So, yeah, in terms of betting.
Probably no more than me then.
Yeah. Love it. Right, Rich, we're going to stick your team up for you, mate. Shows you, I mean, I don't know how many of these are out, but I'm looking forward to seeing it. Let's have a look.
There's a few.
Take it away. Gee whiz.
So we've got Facile Vega, who could or could not be going to the Arkle. Alaho, unfortunately, is out injured. Iroko is currently out injured, but may be back. But if he is, he's not going to go to the Browns. So Gerhard is probably my best bet, which is quite worrying for this. Brisler West did win, so I mean, obviously he's gone out in price, but potential still there. Dowell said he's got lovely ears, so we'll go with that. Jerry Colom, not going to beat Galloping, so that was a waste. West Balboa, again, I might as well pick my original choice for that because that's got about as much chance. Stella Story, slightly nibbled in. Broadway Boy, God knows, up to 40-1, probably doesn't go to the Browns. May go National Hunt Chase. It's to me, picked up an injury just after I picked him for week 10, so that was a good pick. Conflated, I think he's got a good chance in the cross country actually. So yeah, maybe one winner in there.
This is real smart stuff.
Ante-post
I'm more about betting on the day rather than 12 months out.
And now he's going to put an Arkle pick up for the Turners, ready? Go on, then, Rich.
Fairness, my next bet is a win-win for me. So it's Gaelic Warrior for the Turners. He's going to be my captain. So if he does win, it's double the odds for myself for the points. But yeah, obviously he's running in the Dublin Racing Festival against Marine Nationale. I mean, if he beats Marine Nationale, he's probably going to have the Arkle. So that bet's out the window. However, it'll shut Joe up and Marine Nationale backers can start crying. And I mean, that's just worth it for me. So if he does beat him, then yeah, he goes to the Arkle.
Rich, you are literally going to take anything to beat Marine Nationale.
I've just not fallen in love with the horse. So if I can get him beat, I'm going to try. Yeah, I just think, in all seriousness, he started off as a 3 mile Brown stayers potential, and now potentially they're talking about the Arkle over 2. Surely he's not got the pace that Marine's got, in fairness. So I just think he might win well, but he'll be outpaced, and I think they'll just go for the Turners because it's by far the easy option. I heard the owner say that on Lossy Mouth taking on Constitution Hill that he just wants winners, and the Turners is there for the taking. If Gaelic turns up, I just think he wins the market. I mean, you've got Jinny's Destiny in there, it's probably the biggest threat. Vega, will he win 2? I don't know. Corbett's Cross, Factor File, found a 50. Yeah, I'm just banking on him running well against Marine, not being quick enough, and then dropping back to the Turners, and he'll just hose up in that. Is my theory. Or if he does win, he goes to the Arkle, and Joe can be quiet for the rest of the series.
Through the whole way, we were asking, would you be on Marine or Facile Vega? Obviously, Facile Vega bombed out, but
who were you on, James and Rich?
Sorry,
what, Joe?
Who did you choose? Sorry, in the Facile Marine debate for the Arkle?
I've got neither in my team at the moment. So
yeah. Charlotte, who would you prefer to be on?
For the Arkle?
Yeah.
Marine Nationale. I'm sorry, I'm on that one.
Do you think Gaelic Warrior could push him close, drop him back?
I probably agree that Gaelic Warrior is probably better off, and like you say, it's the easier race in the Turners. People probably often don't see the point in giving their horse a harder time than it needs to, especially when it's at Cheltenham at the festival. And I wouldn't be surprised if he obviously ran Gaelic Warrior and Facile Vega in that one as well. So yeah, I'm on Marine Nationale.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He's certainly got it in his hands at the moment. Right, I'll quickly do my team. So I obviously put a Rocco in at the beginning. He's probably going to go Turners if he even ends up at Cheltenham. We'll obviously hopefully find that out when we go back there mid-February with our next visit there. Tehupu for the Stayers looks a good one, 4-1. Obviously, Thalem out's the big news. So obviously, we don't know what Irish Point's going to do, but I'm on Tehupu. Love Envoy. Got put in a place by Lossy Mouth. That's probably going to be a struggle now. Envoy Lens, the interesting one, I think, for the Ryanair. Obviously, Aloha Hout, I think it is very open, that race, so I quite like him. Dice Enos won a bit of a nothing race at the weekend, but she's got a lot of talent. Hopefully, she can push the Irish all the way. Stay Away Fair for the Browns. Again, happy with that. Il Atlantique for the Ballymore. That's probably up in the air, even though he's halved in price. Shanna Bob's obviously coming quite a lot after winning that race at Cheltenham. He should have been in the River Don. Obviously didn't get the declaration, so hopefully there's no issue there and we get to see him soon. But fingers crossed he's not out or anything. Will Mount for the Supreme. I'll give him one more chance back over 2 mile on a bit better ground. So Gino's my best one, I'd definitely say. I think he's an absolute superstar. I think he's got all the chance of winning the Triumph. Heretier, same price. I thought she'd win that race at the other weekend, but she unfortunately comes second. But I'm not going to give up on her. I think she's got a chance coming into the Mare's Chase. My selection this week, then, I'm going for a bit of a on the fence one, but I'm going to go for Slade Steel, and I'm backing him any race. I'm going to captain him for the muggy, double the odds. I don't know which way he's going to go. Now, I really like this horse, Slade Steel. I think he's got really good form in the book, and I think he's going a bit under the radar now. For the reason why I've gone in a race is because I do think Ballyburn is going to win one of the novices, but it just depends which way he goes. I think whichever way he goes, Slade Steel goes the other way. Now, you know, his form's good. You go through the back form, he beat the Raw Bond second, King of Kingsfield, who's beat Mirazor West. Built by Ballymore with 45 lengths behind him that day. He's won a couple of times since. He's beaten Lecky Watson, Stella Star. This is all good form. And I just think 2.5 mile and 2 mile is good over both. I just think the 2 mile race at the DRF this weekend is the one that's going to throw it all in the air. So I think it's one of them. If Ballyburn wins that race with maybe a staying on Slade Steel, I think Ballyburn goes the Supreme. So I think he'll go the Ballymore. But then again, if he wins, if Slade Steel wins the 2 mile race, and he goes favourite for the Supreme. So it's up in the air. I can't decide. So I'm just going to stick on the fence and go any race. Double the odds. Slade Steel. Come on. Charlotte, tell me it's a winner.
He is. Well, if you think he's a winner, then manifest it.
I've got to do. I obviously had Will Mount, but he's got questions to ask. I think the owner put on Twitter the other day that he is okay, he's fine, but it's going to be tough. But the Irish race at the weekend, the DRF's going to throw it all up in the air. There'll be horses getting beat left, right, and centre. So
what's a cop out?
It's not a cop out. I mean, I've basically got the same odds that he is for the Ballymore, so, and I've covered both races. It's a smart Ante-post.
Just nail your colours to a race and go for it.
You what?
Just nail your colours to a race and go for it.
Well, I'd rather split mistakes. I'll just get the same price for that, and I've covered. But I'm happy to cover both. I mean, I've backed him for both myself on this.
I'm playing Charlotte picks Constitution Hill here.
Yeah, that's my selection. I'm going to swing round to you, Charlotte, to finish us off. Have you got a selection for Cheltenham? You think it's going to go well?
I've mentioned the horse about 4 times in the last hour, so it's got to be again. It's Lossy Mouth. She's just she's been unreal at the weekend. So, but one I did actually quite like in the the Supreme Novice Hurdle. Do you know what? There's one of Neil King's Look Away at 33 to 1. I quite fancied that as a tip for an each way. I think he's a course and distance winner, stays 2.5, 3-time winner. He's won an entry bumper, and he was also second in a Grade 1 last time out at Newbury. I think that's quite a big price at 33 to 1. So I mean, whether I don't think he'd be good enough to win, but for an each way bet, that one kind of caught my eye a little bit. But yeah, in terms of winning, I think there's no doubt in Lossy Mouth.
Yeah, I think we'll all be steaming into Lossy Mouth. I think. I mean, you can't deny.
No.
She looks sensational, doesn't she? So brilliant, but nice look away each way there. We'll have a little bit on that as well. Brilliant, right? That is us. So, as I always do, finish the show. Thank you very much for giving your time, Shout. We really appreciated your opinion tonight. It's been great having you on. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
No worries. It's been class. And obviously the lad's Rich giving his usual opinion, we'll call it, if you can call it an opinion. Joe's done all right as well. But like I say, thank you for everyone who's been watching. You know, we've had loads of guests come on. Charlotte again has come on. And hopefully we're going to continue that thread as we move on through towards the Cheltenham Festival. Like and subscribe to the channel. I always have to say that. We've obviously got the subscriber competition running. So if you are watching the show, get your teams updated in the comments. I know a few people have been a bit behind, but if you get them in, there's a chance of winning that bundle with a load of racing gear in it. So that's always good to join that. So yeah, we're back again on Thursday with a big DRF special. A couple of guests are coming on that, which will be announced probably tomorrow. because I've not had time to do my thumbnail. So I'll get Rich on that tomorrow, and we can get that announced. And yeah, any last words, guys, before we go?
No, thanks for coming on, Charlotte. Really enjoyed it. Another good guest.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Hopefully, hopefully I've not been too boring everyone. So that's fine.
Rich.
No, yeah, thanks for coming on. It's good to have somebody that's actually knows what they're about, rather than us three just whittle on pretending that we that we know what's going to win.
Well, I mean, I try, so we'll see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But yeah, like I say, it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you for coming on, Charlotte. Cheers to the lads again, and thank you for everyone who's watched. And we'll see you all again next time. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.